Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Namo Aniruddhaya Hrishikeshendriyatmane Namaha Paramahamsaya Purnaya Nibrutatmane Swarga Pavargadvaraya Nityam Suchisade Namah Namah Hiranyaviryaya Chatuhotraya Tantave. Thank you very much for joining us again this evening. We are going to continue our sessions on discussion on the Harinam Cintamani, which is a dialogue between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Srila Haridas Thakur, his dearmost servant. Up until now, we have covered we are actually covering or discussing the offenses to the holy names. And today's discussion borders on the offense of instructing the glories of the holy names or instructing the mantra to those who do not have faith. There's actually a very, very confusing statement. And the reason we are saying confusing is because we are also instructed to spread the mission. Lord Chaitanya is Mahavadanyaya. Sri Rupa Goswami said, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratuse Nama. He is Namo Mahavadanyaya. He is most munificent, most merciful, and he has opened the store gate of Prema, which no one else can do or has done. Only Mahaprabhu has Prema. Only he can give Prema. And he is distributing freely. And he has instructed Lord Nityananda and his other confidential associates to simply distribute it. And how are they distributing? It is quite unusual. They are not distributing just like that. They are distributing indiscriminately. They are not judging the person by birth. They are not judging the material, occupation, the qualification, and so on and so forth. They are not judging any form. They don't have any basis. They are not applying any basis while distributing. Distribution is happening indiscriminately. So while this distribution is happening indiscriminately, we are also being told that don't instruct and don't give the holy name to the faithless. So it's a bit of a contradiction. Unless we understand it fully, this would remain so, because in many cases we feel that it doesn't make sense, even though we chant the offense, or rather when we instruct, when we call upon the offense in the morning before we begin chanting, and we say, we are not supposed to be instructing it to the faithless, it causes a little bit of confusion in our heads as to what exactly does this mean. We were asked to go on Harinam, we go and spread Harinam, we bring people, and in most cases they don't have faith. So we want to understand what is faith. If we understand faith, then we would understand what is it which is being referred to here, and then we will get into the problems with what is being shown here. Okay, what exactly happens? Because that's very important, both sides. So how do we define Shraddha, faith? Faith is a process by which one has the ability to engage in what is given in 4.34 Bhagavad Gita. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So someone is able to say Tadvidhi, right? Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Someone has developed the quality of being able to submit inquiries after rendering seva. This idea of faith comes in where it's defined here. How do you recognize faith? When someone begins inquiring submissively. When someone submits inquiries submissively. Now let us understand what exactly are we talking about when we say faith and quality of faith. Our original position is in Goloka Vrindavan. Our original position is to serve Krishna, right? We are eternal servants of Krishna. Jiver Nitya Swarupa Krishna Das. But let's understand what is Dasya. Okay, when we call ourselves, we are Krishna Das, we are that Das, we are that this, this Das, everybody is Das and Dasi. What is Das? What does it mean to be called Krishna Das? There can never be a statement of das or dasya, which is servitude or being a servant, without preeti. What does it mean? Without love, there cannot be service. So there is no question of being das without love. One cannot serve without love. Okay, that's the first definition. So if Yashoda Mai, Nanda Maharaj, they are in Vatsalya Preeti, they have developed affection as parents, they have Vatsalya Preeti, they are eternal servants of Krishna, they are das because they have Vatsalya Preeti. The servants of Krishna in Vrindavan, right? Servants who serve him in the mood of dasya. They are servants, they are das because they have dasya preeti. Preeti has come, and as a consequence, they are serving. Okay? So is the case with Krishna's dearmost friends like Sridham, Shubal, and so on and so forth. They have Sakya Preeti, and as a consequence, they are das. So this idea of becoming Krishna das cannot happen unless there is Preeti. That's the first principle. So what are we talking about when we talk about faith? When we come in touch with the holy names, when we come in touch with the pure holy names chanted by the transcendental devotees of the Lord, and when the sound vibration enters into our heart and it reminds us that we are not supposed to be a part of this plane, the material plane, and then we begin submissive inquiry and we start rendering service and so on and so forth, that is the blossoming of faith that we are someone else. Because now some preeti has developed. Otherwise, service is not possible. You cannot serve without preeti. Okay? This whole idea of being a slave doesn't work. Okay? You cannot force someone without pay to work without preeti. So our whole idea that we can serve without preeti is wrong. We cannot. Okay? Because there is preeti, we have become das. Without preeti, there is no das. Without love, there is no das. There's no question of being able to serve. Okay? So that is our original position. So we awaken that original position. We start understanding that I have a special attraction and I'm not able to understand why I'm still a part of this realm. I have to go and make some submissive inquiry. I'm attracted to this elevated soul. I want to serve him. By serving him, I'll submit my inquiries, and as a consequence, I will get my answers, and I will have my faith, situated in a more determined manner. That is the process which we define as the process of Shraddha. Shraddha comes when we come in touch and associate and we engage in seva. Pariprashnena, right? Sevaya. Without seva, and seva requires preeti. And without preeti, there cannot be seva. One does not render service just like that. And if we are rendering service without preeti, then check yourself. Because that service is not very good, because sooner or later we reach the burnout situation. So we will have to understand that, okay, I'm kind of feeling tired, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling that way. Then we'll have to kind of have a reset of consciousness. Not that we stop serving, but we have to have a reset of consciousness saying, this is not proper. Okay? Because it's supposed to be service, there has to be preeti. Then we call ourselves das, dasi, as the case may be, depending on the material body. So the first principle is preeti, of understanding love. And the second principle is that once that awakens by coming in touch with someone who is in love, by hearing their voice, hearing the holy names from their lotus lips, and the sound vibration enters into our heart, starts shattering our misconceptions of identifying with this body, identifying with this plane of consciousness of being in this world and having agendas in this world. When that happens, then we start inquiring, and that inquiry turns into accepting the Guru and then engaging in kirtan, which is chanting of the holy names. Okay? That is the process of faith. The process of faith is where we understand that we don't belong here. We will belong in Goloka. We have very specific identities in Goloka. We are now in a process which is teaching us to become someone in Goloka who we really are. It is a process which is going to conquer and rather diminish the divide between the spiritual realm and our existence. And that is the reason why we like to dress up. We like to, eat Bhagavad Prasad because we are in love. We like to eat Bhagavad Prasad, food that is tasted by the beloved, right? We engage in activities in association with those who are associated with the beloved. We detest those who are against him, right? We detest those who are against him. Detest in the sense that we don't quite feel enthused, even though as a service we do need to associate. We don't feel quite enthused. So that is the idea of faith. Okay, we'll have to establish what is faith. Faith is defined by 4.34. Without accepting, the fact that I have to submit myself and then inquire, then faith is slowly coming in, because those answers will be received. Otherwise, no one can submit themselves. No one can become das unless they have priti. Okay, some priti has to be there. That's a qualification. That is the meaning of faith. Faithless are those who don't have it. They don't have that particular faith. They don't have affection. They don't have that particular relationship which you can give them instructions on. Why is it dangerous? It is dangerous because if we can distribute Harinam on the roads, it is a recommended process. But when we talk about this verse is actually instructing those who are performing the role of spiritual masters. It is also instructing those who are distributing the holy name, saying, don't distribute confidential instruction on the holy name. Distribute the holy name until they develop faith and they're able to inquire submissively. Don't give them confidential instructions. So you qualify them with 4.34 of the Bhagavad Gita. See if there is pariprashnena sevaya, right? Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Then Tattvadarshan can be revealed. Until then, don't reveal Tattvadarshan. Give them Harinam. Give them Krishna Prasad. Give them, don't give our Krishna Prasad Prabhu. But I just remembered that. But give them mercy, right? Give them mercy by giving them Bhagavad Prasad and giving them the holy names. Distribute it. Distribute it. Okay? That is the meaning here, that if you are an instructing spiritual master or a Diksha Guru, don't instruct them, neither do you offer confidential instructions and initiate the person. Because Haridas Thakur, I'm going to read it now. Srila Haridas Thakur is using this word, and we have to hear it very carefully. There's a big instruction here. With his hands folded and in a soft voice, Srila Haridas Thakur said, now please hear about another Namaparad. He is addressing this to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and by addressing it to Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu is empowering him, and since he has authority, he is also giving us this nectarian instruction. The first essential requirement for chanting Krishna's holy name is Shraddha, or firm faith. One who is bereft of it cannot hear the name. It's a very interesting statement. He says they cannot hear the name and is therefore unfit to chant. They cannot hear the name, therefore they are unfit to chant. So that is something that we'll have to remember, that if you don't see this faith and you do not see them participating in the manner in which they are supposed to participate, don't instruct them on confidential instructions, don't give them elaborate instructions, include them by giving them Krishna Prasadam, Bhagavad Prasadam, give them the holy names so that they can relish the holy names and slowly, steadily develop faith. By being with the faithful, that is our responsibility. Because the real warning here is that if the spiritual master instructs, initiates, then the spiritual master has a connection. Our father, biological father, has a connection with us. Our actions have a reverse effect on him. Okay? If we are okay, then the biological father is helped because there's a connection. Okay? In the sense that if we perform our duties and if we are able to serve and we are able to engage in Harinam, we are able to engage in, Bhagavad Seva, then our biological parents are benefited. Now comes the question of spiritual parent or spiritual father. Okay? Both of them, Siksha and Diksha, are playing the role of father. Why? Because they're guiding. They're setting ideals and they're making us walk. That particular function is done by the father. So they perform the role of a father, even though their position is vastly superior to the biological father, because it is eternal. Connection is eternal. They are the bridge which Krishna is offering us. They are the ones who are depositing in our heart the Shraddha. They are the ones who are reinforcing and giving us Preeti. They have Preeti, so they are giving us Preeti. Right. So the question is that if such a spiritual master connects to a disciple who is not yet mature, the actions of the disciple affect the spiritual master. Most spiritual masters, including our Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, many of them, are very liberal. Many of them, some of them are very careful, but then most of them are very liberal. Srila Prabhupada was very liberal. I remember that my own spiritual master was very, very liberal, but he had strict standards. He used to issue warnings. Okay? He used to send letters because he used to learn that disciples are deviant, disciples are not doing what they're supposed to do. He used to send a letter and he used to say that if you do not change, I will reject you. Why? Because he is plugged in to the consciousness of the disciple as well. He is assisting someone. So this offense, this particular namaparad, is indicating to the spiritual master saying, don't instruct them, don't give them diksha, check and make sure that they are good and they are steady and they are sincere. Do not give them instructions and confidential instructions. Do not make this connection, otherwise you will have a problem, which is true. The guru faces physical health problems because of disciples. The guru faces psychological problems because of disciples. The guru faces spiritual problems because of disciples. If the guru is not potent, then the guru himself gets into trouble, and that is the purport of this verse. The guru can get into real deep trouble if the guru is not very potent and is not able to shake off and is able to kind of manage the extraordinary reactions that come when being connected to this very powerful process of Krishna consciousness, and then also being connected to his disciples who are not proper. Because it is his responsibility. And the more they deviate, he will have physical problems. Health problems of many ISKCON gurus, not ISKCON gurus in general, have to do with disciples. Okay, I remember once my own spiritual master, he made a statement. He said, I'm not supposed to be sick. I'm not supposed to be sick. He was having a flu. And he was a very deeply realized soul, and he could make this distinction as to where the karma was coming from. And he said, no, this is not my karma. This is something because of deviant disciples. So at some point, I remember he sent out a letter to many of his disciples whom he felt were not proper, and he rejected quite a few of them. Some of them wrote back begging forgiveness, and he accepted them. Some of them never did. So he disconnected himself from them, because that is something which is recommended in the scripture, in Harinam Cintamani. It is recommended in scripture that the guru should reject. The guru should reject deviant disciples, because the guru is giving the disciple a very potent process. And if the disciple is unqualified and is not doing their part, the disciple should be rejected, because it affects the guru. What we eat affects the guru. Surprising? Yes. Because we carry consciousness. We carry consciousness, we do things, and the guru pays a price. This is not to make anyone guilty. This is not to make anyone guilty, but neither do we belong to this new age philosophy that we will never share truth, which makes us feel guilty. No. We will share truth. If we feel guilty, and if it's an opportunity for reform, so be it. But we will share truth. This is the truth. That our actions affect our spiritual masters. It does. So this whole thing is about don't instruct. Sri Harinam Cintamani, Sri Haridas Thakur, Mahaprabhu is commissioning his dearest servant Haridas Thakur and saying, make instructions so that in future deviant people do not get this very special mercy. So what did Lord Nityananda do? What did Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do to Jagai and Madai? Jagai and Madai were the most deviant, most sinful personalities. It is said that on the petition of Nityananda Ram, Mahaprabhu took on the sinful reactions and the color of Mahaprabhu changed for a moment because he turned dark as opposed to being golden. That was the level of sinful reactions which these two personalities carry. The moment that was done, they were able to instill faith in their hearts, and then both of these personalities began chanting. So the Shraddha was instilled, and then instructions were given, and then Diksha was given. First, Shraddha is instilled. And how do you check Shraddha? 4.34. Pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, is that there? If it is there, then the Shraddha is developing because the original quality of being Krishna Das is coming up. Okay? Without which it cannot happen. Then you instruct. Then Diksha is given, and so on and so forth. It's a very big risk for the spiritual masters. It is. It is a very big risk. It is a very, very big risk because their own spiritual lives come to stake. Okay? And we have to be very careful with what we do in our connections with them because their own spiritual lives are at stake. There is one very interesting example which Srila Prabhupada gives in Srimad Bhagavatam in the Dhruva Charita, where he talks about the fact that both the stepmother and the mother, the biological mother, were Siksha Gurus of Dhruva Maharaj. Right? Stepmother said, if you want to sit on your father's lap, go and worship Lord Narayan. So she asked him to instruct, she gave him instructions on Harinam, initial instructions. She said, go, do this. It was done with envy, but it was still bona fide instruction. It had Shastric support. It was a very bona fide instruction, even though it was done with envy. The biological mother, instead of being affected by the enviousness of her co-wife, so to speak, she continued instructing her son, saying, whatever your stepmother said, even though she was envious, her instruction is bona fide. You have to worship Lord Narayan. By worshipping him, and you can attain anything. So both of them played the role of instructing spiritual master, Siksha. And as a consequence, Srimad Bhagavatam says that both of them were liberated because they played a role in assisting the forward movement of an extraordinary soul. As a consequence, both of them were liberated. Okay? Srila Prabhupada, in his greatest humility, he writes in the purport, saying, this is our hope that at least one of our disciples will become a pure devotee and we will be liberated. We will also receive the benediction of Shuddha Bhakti. This was Srila Prabhupada's humility. He had not written it whimsically. He had written it with such deep humility that it was fascinating to read. That he was saying, I hope that at least one of my disciples would take it up. At least one becomes qualified. And as a consequence, I get mercy. So what does this mean? If good benefits can be accrued by connections, bad benefits can also be accrued by connections. That's what this means. Okay? And why am I speaking a little strongly is because it's a fact. It is a fact that this particular offense is quite a potent offense on the reverse side, where we affect our acharyas by our stupidity, by our lack of understanding, just by our weakness. We affect them. My spiritual master used to say, Srila Prabhupada, when he first came to America, he did not need a cane. He was 70. At 70, most people need a cane. He did not need a cane. He was not walking with the assistance of a cane. He was very powerful. You could hear those tapes. The voice, Srila Prabhupada's voice, is so powerful. It is extraordinarily deep, resonant. The vibrations, of course, are completely transcendental and pure, but he was also physically quite able when he first came. But by the time, he took 6,000 or, whatever number of disciples, his health had all kinds of problems, He continued serving till the very end, till the age of, whenever he passed on, in 1977, he continued serving. He didn't stop till the very last moment, even though he had stopped eating, he had stopped drinking, he continued serving. He kept giving instructions, which were being recorded, even with an extraordinarily feeble voice. This was like acting like Sri Bhishmadev on the battlefield, lying on the deathbed, but giving instructions. That's what Srila Prabhupada did. So this is just an example. He used to say that, this is not Srila Prabhupada's biological function that he had to lose the facility of his body. It was more a question of taking reactions, and then there was also a question of deviation. And as a consequence, the ill effect on the spiritual master. So this offense is dangerous. So Harinam Cintamani says, Lord Chaitanya's instruction to preachers. This is Lord Chaitanya's instruction to preachers. Okay? You have explained, this is Lord Chaitanya, you have explained that preachers must properly instruct the Shraddhavan, persons with Shraddha, about the holy name of God. In this way, the whole world must be inundated with the chanting of the glories of the holy name. With loud congregational chanting, the holy name should be propagated widely. Those who are sincere will come forward. This is where the 4.34 comes in. Pariprashnena, right? Sevaya. Those who are sincere will come forward and choose a bona fide guru. Adav Shraddha, Tata Sadhu Sangha. This is Sadhu Sangha. Chanting, by sincere chanting, receiving initiation into the name from him, right? Then they begin Kirtan. So Bhajana Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, sorry, they begin Bhajana Kriya. After Sadhu Sangha, they begin Bhajana Kriya. By sincere chanting, they will surely obtain love of God, Krishna Prema. Okay? This is again expanded. Okay, I'm just reading. Prostitutes, criminals, cheaters, and other sinful people should be made to give up their unrighteous, injurious ways. Sincere Shraddha should be implanted in their hearts. Can you believe this? He's saying prostitutes, criminals, cheaters, and other sinful people should be made to give up their unrighteousness. First, make them give up. Okay? Injurious ways, because they are injuring themselves. He says, he never says do not exclude them. Include everybody. Okay? But then, inculcate, Shraddha. Sincere Shraddha should be implanted in their hearts, which means those who are instructing them and giving them mantras should have very deep Shraddha, so that their Shraddha and that Preeti falls into the heart of the recipient. As a consequence, they develop the ability to properly aspire to be Krishnadas. Okay? No question of Krishnadas without Preeti. Again. When the Shraddha is Krishna's holy name matures, they must receive initiation. When Shraddha in Krishna's holy name matures, they must receive initiation. This is the duty of a preacher as he goes from place to place teaching everyone. Okay? Now let's read about the result of this Namaparad. If without paying heed to your instructions, which is Sri Haridas Thakur is talking about Mahaprabhu, a guru initiates an insincere pretender, he commits a grievous offense for which he goes to hell. How serious is this? The Namaparad committed by the charlatan disciple slowly but surely diminished the guru's spiritual potency. Finally, the guru is ruined. This offense has a devastating effect on both the guru and the disciple. They both must enter hell. Unbelievable, because the disciple causes offense to the guru. Now, this particular guru aparad, which is reverse, sends the guru to hell, and as a consequence, the disciple also enters hell. Now, let's read the last one. Shraddha first, then initiation. My dear Lord, you're very merciful to Jagai and Madai. These brothers were born in a Brahmana family, but they became known as the worst reprobates in Navadvipa due to their virulently violent acts. Their original names were Jagadananda and Madhavananda. First, you invoked Shraddha in them, and then you gave them the holy name. Okay, Srila Prabhupada was asked by someone saying that there was this purport in Srimad Bhagavatam that one has to be given, basic adhikar. Basic adhikar has to be given especially because people are not a part of the Vedic system. Basic adhikar has to be given so that they develop religious principles. And then you can give them, further instructions on chanting the holy names and entering into Shuddha Bhakti. Then this question was raised saying, practically no one in the early times here, especially in the West, are exposed to the Vedic paradigm. They don't really have connections to the Vedic system. They were not living according to Vedic culture. Most of them are the opposite side. So Srila Prabhupada was asked, how did we end up giving them the adhikar to perform Shuddha Bhakti? Srila Prabhupada answered, I empowered them by giving them basic adhikar for religious principles. In other words, it was Srila Prabhupada's potency which allowed and qualified the disciples, just as this verse says that the spiritual master first must inculcate faith. He must give faith. He must offer Shraddha. He must establish faith in the hearts of the followers or the disciples and then give initiation. Srila Prabhupada did that. He made a mention saying, I gave them religious principles. I gave them adhikar. And then he was able to inculcate and offer them Harinam. Okay? Your character and activities, you gave them. First you invoke Shraddha and then you gave them the holy name. Oh Lord, your character and activities are exemplary. They shine like beacons across the world. Let everyone follow your wonderful example. Those who are servants of Vaishnavas will find in this Harinam Cintamani a priceless gem. It is a priceless gem. It is a priceless gem. And in fact, I'm very grateful to all of you because of all of you who attend. I'm enthused. I somehow or the other have to pull myself out of my, slumber, my dormancy. I have to go a little deeper. I have to understand the verses. I have to make connections. I have to read further. And then I have to come and speak. And as a consequence, my own faith in chanting the holy names, I'm noticing, has increased. And for that, I'm grateful to you. So I think we are hopefully helping each other. So I will stop right here, and I will see if you have any questions. I think this was a very straightforward session. It was a little intense, but the topic is intense. If we are going to be affecting those who are giving us so much Shraddha and so much love, then that should be taken by us very seriously. It should be taken by us very seriously. It's very serious. That's the reason why it was a little intense. Hopefully not too intense. So if you have any questions, I'm ready to take on questions. Hare Krishna. So who is responsible for one's going back to Godhead? Siksha Guru or Diksha Guru? The Siksha, Diksha, both personalities of Guru Tattva are connected. They are a team. So who is responsible specifically is a fact of the matter of the team working together. So the function of the Diksha Guru is to offer Diksha and connect one, and through his medium where you serve the Diksha Guru, he takes you back. So that is the way it is. And then the Siksha Guru reinforces faith and develops deeper and deeper faith and allows one to function. And even that particular function is also to help serve the Diksha Guru better. The Siksha Guru should support and be aligned with the objectives of the Diksha Guru, where he reinforces the instructions which are completely aligned with Shastra and allows deeper faith to develop in the process. So it's a teamwork. So it's very difficult to say who is responsible, okay? Because it is not easy to say, because in our own Siksha, for example, we take Siksha from Srila Prabhupada. He's the founder Acharya. His position is very special. We should not be taking his example. But then in our own line, we have the culture of Siksha. For example, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was not initiated by Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. But then why did he put Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj one step before him in the lineage, right? Then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur never was an initiated guru or Diksha Guru of Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. But why was Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, preceding or following Bhaktivinoda Thakur? It was, yes, he initiated Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but he also accepted Bhaktivinoda Thakur as a Siksha Guru. So both of these qualified him to be in the lineage, the Parampara system. There are many instances in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where, for instance, Sri Hridaya Chaitanya Prabhu, when he found that Shyamananda Prabhu was extraordinarily special. Shyamananda Prabhu was initially a disciple of Sri Hridaya Chaitanya. And when he found that he was extraordinarily special and, in the sense that he was very sincere and he had developed, the mood of wanting to engage in Sakyaras. I'm sorry, not Sakyaras, in Madhuryaras. In other words, he wanted to develop the idea of wanting to serve the divine couple in Madhuryaras, and he wanted instructions. So Sri Hridaya Chaitanya Prabhu blessed Shyamananda Prabhu and sent him to Srila Jiva Goswami so that Srila Jiva Goswami could further instruct him in this more specialized aspect. So in that sense, you can say that they are operating as a team. Okay, they are operating as a team. So that is how we have to understand that our system is not so much that it is one or the other, it is more as a team, because our faith is being reinforced by both sides. And it is all a matter of being able to reinforce faith. And once we have our faith reinforced, then we are able to chant with affection. We are able to call upon the holy names with affection. And the more we are able to call upon the holy names with affection, the greater would be our own advancement. So the greater our advancement, we are greater the chances of our going back. So it's all connected. Okay, so one second. Next question is from the Vilas Manjari. Thank you for explaining the amount of responsibility Guru has taken for each disciple. Guru goes to hell due to disciples' offense, even if Guru is self-realized and has reawakened the relationship with Krishna. I'm not able to comprehend this. Not necessarily. I use the word that the Guru's potency has the ability to dissolve the afflictions that come from being able, the offenses that come from the disciple. The Guru's potency has the ability to do so. I am talking about a situation where the Guru himself is not up to the mark. So your statement is, if Guru is self-realized, then that question does not arise, because he is potent. He is able to dissolve the poison that's coming due to the disciple, the afflictions that are coming to the disciple. Okay? So, if the Guru is self-realized, then there is no issue, because he has the potency, he can dissolve. He can dissolve. But the real issue is if the Guru himself is not on very firm ground, and there are many, many disciples, and there are many deviants, and those things start affecting the Guru. That's the point I was trying to make. How can we understand this verse in connection with the instruction we discussed, Chaturvida Bhajante Mam, from the Bhagavad Gita? Because sometimes, because of our own understanding or misunderstanding of this verse, we think these 4 categories mentioned are eligible for performance of devotional service. They are the 4 categories that are mentioned in Chaturvida Bhajante Mam are categories of Karma Mishra and Jnana Mishra. These are the 4 categories. Okay? So you have Karma Mishra and Jnana Mishra, Bhakti, which is going on in those categories. They approach Krishna. They don't have Preeti, they're trying to do business. So there is mixture there. In the first case, there is a desire for Bhukti, which is they want to enjoy, they want to relieve themselves of their afflictions, they want health issues, they want to relieve themselves of wealth problems, and they're coming and approaching Krishna with distress, and as a consequence, their Sukriti is, as it is said, it is Karma Unmukha and then it is Jnana Unmukha. It is very different. The Sukriti is very different. And as a consequence, they are able to have Adhikar for performing Karma Mishra Bhakti, they have Adhikar for performing Jnana Mishra Bhakti. But then the Shuddha Bhakti Adhikar has to come by coming in touch with the Shuddha Bhakta. Once the Shuddha Bhakti Adhikar happens due to coming in touch with a Shuddha Bhakta, where they come because of distress, they come because of other reasons, but then they're also coming in touch with the pure devotee of the Lord. They're able to hear his verses, and they're able to hear him chant, and they're able to serve him. That particular transformation of karma and jnana into Shuddha Bhakti Adhikar happens when they come in touch with someone who has Shuddha Bhakti. This is the reason why Krishna sent Sri Uddhava to Vraja, because Sri Uddhava was in Jnana Mishra. His conception of Krishna and his idealist or whatever, his idea was based on Jnana Mishra Bhakti, because he was a Brahaspati Sishya. He was a Jnani. He was an extraordinarily brilliant personality with all kinds of knowledge, because he was Brahaspati Sishya. Lord Brahaspati is the guru of all the devas, so a lot of knowledge. So his idea and his conception of Krishna was based on the amount of knowledge he had received and so on and so forth. He had Jnana Mishra. So that Mishra Bhakti had to be resolved, and he sent him to Vraja specifically to resolve that issue. So when he saw the Vrajavasis, and he came in touch with the Vrajavasis, and he understood the extraordinary nature of Shuddha Bhakti, right? I spoke about it in the class where in the recent class, in I think one of the programs on Saturday. This Jagannath's Chapan Bhog program in Sundari Sita Mataji's house and Ram Prabhu's house. And I said that when Uddhava approached Nanda Maharaj, he was saying that Krishna is Narayan. He is four-armed. He has a lotus, he has a chakra, he has the Gada and Padma and all that. And he was giving him examples, saying he is a spiritual master of everyone, and so on and so forth. He is eternally satisfied. This completely confused Nanda Maharaj, or rather, Nanda Maharaj was, the Acharya's conclusion is that he was not able to accept this because he is looking at Krishna as a son. He's saying, no, my son is not peaceful. He is quite agitated. He runs around. He becomes angry. He breaks things if you don't give him food. He is always active. He steals. How can you say he is Narayan? This is Shuddha Bhakti, where this entire Aishwarya of Krishna is being completely overwhelmed by the sweet relationship of Shuddha Bhakti, which Sri Nanda Maharaj had in his heart. Yashoda Mai had in her heart. Then Sri Uddhava met the Sakas and the Gopis and everyone. And he understood the very specific mellow of Vraja Bhakti, which is Shuddha Bhakti. Now, the Jnana Bhakta, which is Jnani Bhakta, which is Sri Uddhava, has come in touch with Shuddha Bhakti through the medium of the exalted people who are in Vraja. And now he develops the Adhikar for Shuddha Bhakti. So this was a very special mercy which Krishna wanted to provide to his very dear servant, Sri Uddhava. This was mercy. Okay? So that is how it happens. Right? That was the reason why Balaram had to come, because Balaram is a Vrajavasi. He knows the mood of Vraja. So Balaram had to come after that, even though Sri Uddhava first was sent by Krishna. So that is how we understand that Chaturvida Bhajante Mam, they have Adhikar for Karma Mishra Bhakti, they may have Adhikar for Jnana Mishra Bhakti, but for them to be able to serve and engage in Shuddha Bhakti, they have to come in touch with a Shuddha Bhakta who has the Adhikar to be able to give them that particular potency. And that is what Mahaprabhu is talking about. He is saying he's going to inculcate faith in their hearts. That inculcation of faith in their hearts to introduce Preeti of Krishna into the hearts. And by introducing Preeti of Krishna into their hearts, then they will begin to chant the holy names. And this is the purpose of Harinam. So the point which we're trying to make here is first Preeti has to develop, then Dasya can come. Otherwise, who is going to serve without love? And what is the point? So that is the point here. That was the whole idea of the two verses. All right. Is there anything else? Any other question? We'll just wait for half a minute, 30 seconds. If I do not receive any more questions, then we'll conclude the day's session, the night session. We'll meet again on Thursday. Okay, there are no more questions. If there are any questions that you come up with after listening to the class, please post your questions on the website, sandhini.com, and then I would be more than happy to address them. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.